Welcome back to another episode of College with Cade, where I, Cade, read the textbook so that you do not have to. Today we're talking all about relationship development and deterioration. Let's get started. So today's episode, like I said, is all about development and deterioration of relationships. And where we're getting most of this material from, or in fact all of this material from, is from a guy much smarter than myself named Mark Knapp, spelled with a K. Mark Knapp came up with 5 different stages for relationships coming together and 5 different stages for relationships growing apart. So we're going to go over each of these steps or stages of Mark Knapp's coming together or development and deterioration. The first 5 for coming together are initiating, experimenting, intensifying, integrating, and bonding. So we're going to talk about those 5 first, and then we will get into the other 5 of deterioration or coming apart. So the first one is initiating, and this is where you start to size up the other person and you start to try to paint yourself in a positive light. So you're initiating this initial contact, initial communication with one another. This is where pretty much anyone you talk to, you're going to enter into this first stage with. If things go well when you're sizing up, you'll probably move on to the second stage, which is experimenting. Experimenting is as simple as the word itself. When you experiment, you kind of test out the waters. You're going to throw a few things out there. You're going to start asking questions like, where are you from? How many siblings do you have? What's your favorite music? Favorite candy bar? Etc. The list goes on and on. You know these questions. This stage, the experimenting stage, is actually the stage that most people will stop at. Also known as casual dating. So you're not getting too serious, but you are dating. If you do date in this casual dating and it goes well, then you get to move on to stage number 3. Stage number 3 is intensifying. After initiating and experimenting, your relationship starts to intensify. This is where you start to share more info. Maybe some secrets that you had are no longer secrets with this person because you are intensifying. You're getting closer together than you were before. You slowly start to use the word we more than you do the word I. For example, we love country music, or we love corn dogs. You never say I or you. You're always one. And if things keep going well in that area, you move on into the integrating stage, which is stage number 4. In the integrating stage, your personalities mesh together and become one. This is where you are always together. This is kind of like when you see your friends start to date another person, and then you can no longer invite them as a single person because now they are 2. If you invite them, you know you're getting the other one because they are tethered together and they are integrating. If they integrate really, really well and everything's awesome, happy, you get to move on to the 5th and final stage, which is called bonding. This is where you announce to the world that you are in love, that you are going to be together, and you're going to commit in front of everybody. I know what you're thinking, and you're right. Marriage is what this is. Though it is not always marriage, it could be some other way to announce to people that, hey, I am committed to this person. And those are the 5 steps. Pretty easy, right? Just to recap here: initiating, experimenting, intensifying, integrating, and bonding. That is the first part of Mark Knapp's study on coming together and going apart. Which moves us into going apart, which is a lot more sad, but we're going to talk about it because it's important. Because if you know how it works, maybe you can stop it, or we're going to talk about how maybe it might not be the best thing to stop it. Again, it's been broken down into 5 stages. And stage number 1 is differentiating. Stage number 2, circumscribing. Number 3, stagnating. Number 4 is avoiding. And number 5 is terminating. So let's go over those real quick. When your relationship starts to take a turn southward and get worse, you've already bonded and you're feeling great, but that does not mean you're good forever. Sometimes and eventually this starts to happen where you start differentiating, which is our first step of coming apart. Differentiating is when you start to focus on the little differences between you and your partner. It can be something really small, but this is where you can stop it, is right here, is by openly discussing these differences between each other and coming to some sort of conclusion before it gets out of hand and you eventually either don't want to be around each other or have to break up, whatever it is you decide to do. If things are going worse and you differentiate, you move down into circumscribing. Circumscribing is when you start to ignore conflict and restrict info that you're putting in. Because you don't want to fight, you just want to stay away from them. So you circumscribe to yourself. You say, hey, no, let's just not do this. And so you stop telling everything to your partner because you know it's just going to lead to something more down the road that you don't want it to lead to. which, unfortunately, because you are not sharing with your partner and you're being that way, you get to move down into stage number 3 of coming apart, and that is stagnating. Think of like water coming through your relationship. Suddenly it freezes and you're stuck. You're in this stagnant pool of sadness and misery called your relationship. This is where all communication stops and you feel trapped, like you can't get out. You're not really willing to put in the effort now, but you're already withholding information. You don't want to go out more because it's just causing conflict. You're not sure how to get out of this pool of sadness and misery, so you're just stuck. You are stagnant in this pool, and you're probably a little bit sad. And this is where you have to kind of decide, are you going to sit there? Because some people do. They'll sit there for months or even years. Some people don't. They move on to step number 4, and that is avoiding. Very simple. As simple as the word avoiding. You don't want to be around the person anymore. You stop being around them. You don't communicate with them anyways. Why does it matter? You stay away from them. Physical avoidance, which inevitably will lead to the final stage, and that is terminating the relationship. That does not necessarily mean breaking up, however. That can mean you just talk about your relationship and set new rules for your relationship. Sometimes that is, hey, no, I don't ever want to talk to you again, we're done, we're never going to see each other. Sometimes it can still be, hey, we're just going to be friends, we're not dating anymore though. It depends on you and your relationship, how things are going. You can choose how to terminate your relationship. That being said, those are the 5 stages of coming apart. And we've already talked about the 5 stages of coming together. So use this information to help you. I want to know, what about you guys? What about your life? Have you seen these stages in your life? Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? It's okay to do so. This is just from the textbook. For all of you watching this, I want to thank you all again for watching this episode and supporting my channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below, and that's all I have for you. So have a good day, or maybe it's nighttime. Peace out.